I have wanted to read The Shining by Stephen King for as long as I can remember. I've always heard that it's like the greatest horror novel of all time, but I just never really got around to it. And now that I have finally read some Stephen King, I've read Carrie and Salem's Lot, I feel like I maybe am ready. Good. So here goes. Welcome to this insanity. It has just begun. It is, in fact, 5:07 a.m. technically. Tuesday morning. I want to finish this book by Thursday. Why is that, you say? Well, a couple of our friends are having a series of spooky movie nights, and the very first one is The Shining, which I have never seen for some reason. I don't know why. I have 13 hours and 13 minutes left in the book, according to the AI inside this little Kindle. Probably it will take me longer than that. David just left to go to the airport. He's going to be gone for 2 days on my days off. So I figured, since I want to finish the book by Thursday, I'm just going to be crazy and marathon it. I'm going to lose my mind. Hopefully not tonight. Hopefully I'll be to sleep soon, but it's 5. So already it has begun. I have this very spooky haunted mansion-y kind of ambiance video on because it evokes the Overlook Hotel without looking like the movie, and I'm trying to let the book be the book. So I've got that on. I've got 2 candles lit, a little bit of bourbon, and my Kindle fully charged. Oh, by the way, this vlog is going to be the most spoilery. Don't watch this if you haven't read it. I feel like I'm behind and most people have. So this is a grand experiment. I'm gonna read The Shining in 2 days, and you're gonna go on this journey with me because that is what you are for. I already have to say, I was not I don't know why, but I was not expecting the child, the son, Danny, to have special powers, a la Carrie, but he totally does. He has telepathy, and his telepathy works over long distance because his dad is at the hotel, which I think is a couple hours drive away. His mom is worried that he may have had an accident because it's taken him so long to get back. But Danny knows that he didn't. He knows that he's fine because he knows that he's on his way home and is almost home because of his psychic connection to his father, which is so cool. So that's my first takeaway. That, and I love the crotchety old engineer guy who showed him the boiler in the basement, talking about the homosexuals and letting him know that although the boiler underneath the hotel, no metaphors detected, is rated for I think 200 psi, he wouldn't be caught dead anywhere near it at over 180. When the hotel's pretty full in the fall, he runs it at 100. And if people complain, that's their fault for being in Colorado in September. So we're being told that the entire hotel could go up kaboom one day because of this old boiler that's been patched dozens of times over the years. And Jack is certainly nothing like that boiler. God, I love Stephen King. This is only my 3rd Stephen King. I just love him so much. He writes the greatest characters. It's 5 in the morning. I'm going to read a little bit more until I can't keep my eyes open, and then I'm going to go to sleep. And I'm going to get up by noon, hopefully, and finish some editing and continue reading this because that's all we're doing is reading. Well, good morning. I set my alarm for 1 p.m. and it's 1:30. I'm awake. And Philip is nestled into my side, like a growth, because he knows that David left, and so now he's clingy, which is sort of nice. So I guess it's time to read a horror novel. Actually, I have to edit video, and then it'll be time. Well, after coffee. Well, this is going to be fun. I haven't taken part in a proper readathon in a long time, but I used to do them a lot. I've had some really great reading experiences at about 3 a.m. because of readathons. And the thing is, if you think about it, books are about escape. Stephen King said, books are a uniquely portable magic. I guess he would know. I've certainly experienced the magic of getting lost in a book before. But really, in my experience, I don't think there's any better way to capture that than by binge reading one book for like 12 hours without doing anything else. Although I might recommend something a bit shorter than The Shining. Alright, so everything took longer than anticipated, which is how life works. I am 13% of the way through The Shining by Stephen King, and I'm going to finish this book by tomorrow night. Well, by Thursday morning. I think I have enough time because I don't have anything to do now, today or tomorrow, except read this guy. So this is my edition on my Kindle. I like that cover. It's kind of fun. I really only want book covers to be like artwork, not photographs. At the very least, if it's going to be a photo, it can't have people on it or faces, because I want to imagine the faces myself. This is The Shining, so yes, I'm absolutely seeing Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. Other than that, like, I don't want to know, because I'm going to see the movie the day after tomorrow. I have a candle lit. I have this spooky haunted mansion ambiance going on the TV. I have my dog, Philip. He's helping. Here we go. Wish me luck. Okay, so I'm 16% of the way in. I'm loving the description of this hotel. The woman in the lobby who threatens to leave without paying and says you can call the cops if they won't let her pay her bill with an American Express card is iconic. And also Danny almost collapsing when he sees the hotel. Interesting. So I'm 18% of the way in. I just turned the page to the next chapter, and this chapter is called The Shining. So that's exciting. It's going quickly, actually. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say because I'm only 18% in, but it feels like it's going fast. Danny just met the chef, the cook, O'Halloran. Nope, just Halloran, I think. Halloran, who has the same gift that he has. So I guess the idea is that this is a common thing. Some people have this telepathy, and they can recognize it in each other. So at one point in the middle of this scene where he's showing them around the kitchen, he calls Danny Doc, which is their nickname for him. And Jack and Wendy look at each other like, how did you know he was called Doc? And he kind of makes a joke and they laugh it off. Now everybody's checking out of the hotel, and it's going to be empty, and I feel like it's going to start getting good. I hate to say this, but I was getting sleepy. And I'm only 20% of the way through the book. So I took a shower. I tried to end it with cold water, so it was somewhat refreshing. The Coke is going to do more. The Coca-Cola is going to do more than the shower did. The book is really good so far. I'm on chapter 12, The Grand Tour. It's funny that I just paused the book to say, wow, I never expected there to be another character who has this amorphous, sort of hard to describe telepathy adjacent thing. And in the very next chapter, it's called The Shining. Stephen King explained the title of the book. There are some people who do it and don't realize that they do it. They just have intuition, they think, like have a good sense about how people are feeling or doing, and really they have this power. So that's what The Shining means. There are people who do it. Shining. I can be up until like dawn. That's who I am as a person, so I would like to hit 50% by tonight. In fact, I think I'm gonna make myself read this chapter here at the table. I'm sitting at the dinner table for 18 minutes of chapter, it says, just to change things up and keep myself awake. All right, that's what I'm doing. It's midnight. I'm 26% of the way through this book, which is really good. Jack is on the roof, re-shingling the roof, and he runs into a wasp nest and is thinking more about all of the choices he's made in the last year. The kid at the school who was on the debate team, whose dad was like a rich lawyer who has a stutter, and Jack was setting the timer ahead on him towards the end before he had to cut him from the team. He believes he did it out of pity. The kid slashed his tires with a knife in the parking lot, and then he attacked him and he like blacked out and doesn't remember what he did. And he like lost his temper with his son, ended up breaking his arm, relives it every day and is traumatized and hates himself. But nonetheless, he has this horrible temper. Yet, Stephen King writes these characters so well that are like very flawed people. He's our main protagonist and you can't help but sympathize with him. And I love that he's not even honest at first in his own thoughts about the timer. And I will admit that I am starting to get spooked a little bit. I have this video playing on this TV and the one in my bedroom, and it's connected to the speakers like all around the house just for vibes. And I keep thinking that I'm seeing things. And my brain tells me as I'm thinking that I'm seeing it that I'm not seeing it. But I'm sitting here reading and thinking I see someone walking behind me by the dining room table. Maybe there was a car that went past on the road across the field and I just saw the light or something. I don't know. I wouldn't say that this book is actually scaring me and that's why that's happening. It might just be that I'm like consuming caffeine and sugar up really late day after day and I have all the lights really dim and that's why. But I won't say that it bothers me either. I'm having fun. This Ambience video also has, so there's this window and there's lightning flashing on the other side of the stained glass window. And every few, I don't know if it's like once an hour, very, very rarely because the lightning flashes a lot, there'll be the silhouette of the Grim Reaper behind the glass. And I just happened to be getting out of the shower. I left the video on. This was last night actually. And as I was toweling off and looking into my bedroom, I saw it. And that was kind of cool. I'm getting spooked, and I'm happy about it. I like being spooked. This is my favorite season for a reason. So I'm going slowly crazy and enjoying this book a lot. So 26%, I only have 9.5 hours left now. So, and I'm not feeling tired anymore. I think I needed some caffeine. So it's going great. And it's only midnight, so I mean, I could be up until 5. So I'm probably going to try and sit here on the couch and read as much more as I can before I get bored of sitting here. And then when I do start to feel that way, I will relocate. You guys, the WASPS. The WASPS. The thing a thing happened with his son. He locked himself in the bathroom because he was having a shining moment. They couldn't get him to answer, so they broke the door down and found him. They put him to bed, and then they said he'll sleep through the night, but he didn't because he was having more vision time with Tony. And then WASPS, you guys, the WASPS, they came back to life. This was a good chapter. This is one of the scariest chapters I've ever read. The panic, the undertone of him feeling incredibly guilty and it being his fault. And then he says, what does he say? Suddenly he found that he didn't like the Overlook so well anymore. As if it wasn't wasps that had stung his son, wasps that had miraculously lived through the bug bomb assault, but the hotel itself. From now on you will hold your temper no matter what. Oh my god, the wasps. That was chapter 16, and it was good. I am 30% of the way through. I think when I hit 33, I'm gonna pour a glass of wine and move into the other room and update my Goodreads so that the world will know that I'm making progress. Damn.
Well, hello. It's bedtime. And by bedtime, I mean it's time to continue reading this horror novel in bed. The dog is going under the covers to burrow as he does, and I am going to continue this. I am exactly 33% of the way. I have 8.5 hours left in the book only. I can do that. Not tonight, but I can do that. It's almost 3. I'm gonna read until dawn, so like 6. I am on chapter 18, the Scrapbook. Jack found the Scrapbook on the 1st of November. The doctor visit was amazing. It was really interesting. I was not expecting clarity and nice warm fuzzies and like therapy time for this family, but they'd got it, and that was kind of unexpected and nice. Obviously, not expecting this to become a story about self-discovery and wellness, but the way Jack is portrayed as a recovering alcoholic who has an issue with anger management is so compassionate. Stephen King's pretty good, you guys. So I'm going to continue with chapter 18 and try to read until 6, and I hope I can get halfway through the book tonight. That would be awesome. It may be time for me to change this YouTube video to one that is a swirling maelstrom of snow instead of a thunderstorm. The Shining. Shine on. I'm going to go. Yeah, one of my favorite things that he does is when the boy is remembering something that one of the adults said, that it's a word that he doesn't understand or know what it means. It's like written in a different type, and it is occasionally very funny. It's also very, very cool how when he's reading the thoughts of adults, they sometimes are talking about concepts that he does not understand as a little boy, not understanding the stress of paying bills or not understanding problems in the bedroom or something like that. They come to him more as like colors. I think that's really, really cool. That makes sense. So it's 5 a.m. again, which means I've been doing this now for 24 hours, and I'm 44% of the way through The Shining, which means I have roughly 7 hours left, and all of tomorrow. So I'm feeling good about that. Things are not going well for Jack. He read this scrapbook in the cellar, the basement of the hotel. It detailed all of the shady history behind the Overlook, from news clippings and stuff. Weird business dealings and shell corporations and who really owns it, and murders and deaths. A mob-style, like, execution, I think double murder. So yeah, the presidential suite had all of this bad stuff happen in it. All of the images that Danny saw were images, like latent images of things that had actually happened there. So he read this scrapbook, Jack did, and started becoming really irritable. It was very, very abrupt. He got a headache because the microfilm thing was distorted, and then his wife didn't have the right kind of aspirin, so he like snapped at her. And then in his terrible mood decided to call Ullman at his gig in Florida, where he was busy, to basically lord over him the fact that he learned all this stuff. And say, you didn't tell me the whole story, did you? And the guy's like, no, I didn't. This is none of your business, and it's not your problem. And he was like, well, I'm gonna write a tell-all book about it. And then he hangs up, and you're like, why did he do that? And then he spent several pages being like, why did I do that? And he's wondering whether it's just a self-destructive impulse that he's always had as an alcoholic, and now he's not drinking. But so then there's this interesting thing where Wendy, his wife, is noticing that all of his habits, all of his traits from when he was drinking have come back. He's like wiping his mouth all the time to the point where he's bleeding. He's doing everything except the drinking. So it seems to me, my prediction, which is what his theory is as well, is that the scrapbook belonged to Grady, the caretaker that killed himself, and somehow finding out all of the history of the hotel starts to try to kill you, or it makes you self-destructive or something. things are getting weird, and it just started snowing, actually. So they have to get back to the hotel before they get snowed out. So that means things are about to get worse, I'm sure. And it means that since it's 5 a.m., the next time you see me, there will be sunlight. So in order to keep myself energized and going so that I can get to 50%, I'd love to get to 60%, but at least 50. I think I'm gonna take a bath. So this has been a really fun, slightly crazy, and very immersive experience. The Shining has such amazing, if slightly oppressive, atmosphere, and what with all of the candles and sounds of the drafty old mansion playing throughout the house. Maybe I'm a little nuts, I don't know, but it's done nothing but sort of ramp that up. In fact, I honestly think I'd recommend trying something like this. If you have a couple days homesick from work or something, maybe give this kind of thing a whirl sometime. You may find you enjoy it. And there's no denying that there's something about Jack's slow spiral into madness that makes this frantic reading extravaganza feel correct. But for now, it is time to say goodnight. You don't love that, huh? So, I did not quite make it to 60% last night. I think I'm at 56, and I woke up at just before 2 p.m. Philip barely got out before the storm started.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay, buddy.
It's vibes. I'm gonna go with it, and I guess I'm gonna sit down and read some more. Our friends are having their movie party tomorrow, and I said I'd be there, so I have to finish this book today.
You're okay.
Alright, maybe I'll not use dark mode right now. I never read during the day. Almost. As indicated by the title of this channel. So whenever I put on the light mode, I realize how good it looks. I got this mug at this big, like, fancy, I don't know, it's like a Starbucks theme park. Anyway, we're not here to talk about mugs, so I do have the actual physical book. This book was a gift to me from one of my best friends in the world, Bert, for my birthday a few years ago. He challenged me to read this, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and Hell House by Richard Matheson in like one weekend and do a readathon out of it, and I failed completely. I did update where the bookmark goes after last night, because you can see now I am 56% of the way through. I think I'm gonna try and read for a while in this copy of the book, so we're gonna see how that goes. I'm going to need light to read this, which will be interesting for me. So I feel like there's this really interesting issue at the center of this main relationship in this book. Several months ago, Jack, who is a recovering alcoholic, lost his temper with Danny and ended up breaking his arm. He's tortured with guilt about it, of course, and they discussed it with the doctor in their therapy session earlier. Now, at the hotel, this ghost essentially grabbed Danny by the throat. He has all of these bruises around his neck. She grabbed Danny away from Jack and assumed he had done it. Said stay away from him and all this because of the past. For various reasons, logic has prevailed in a way that has made it clear to her that he can't have done it. So there's someone else in the hotel with them. So she's sorry for accusing him and assuming that it was him, and she refers to it in this scene and says, but you have to understand that what happened is very hard to get over. And he says, you're talking about the arm? And it says, and his lips thinned, because he's like, once again, you're gonna bring up the arm. He's been complaining to her, he's like, you're never gonna let me ever move past that. But at the same time, the thing that he did is so awful. But that whole issue being such a normal, real life, traumatic event, coloring the dynamic between these two characters, even before the supernatural stuff starts, makes it all that much more interesting to read, and it informs and complicates their interactions in the midst of all this craziness. Yeah, it's just great. Okay, so I'm on page 396. It is the first time that Jack has had thoughts that came out of nowhere of killing his wife. And then his imagination goes into detail about it. Because he's spiraling, thinking about how Wendy wants to take Danny down the mountain to see a doctor. And imagining, trying to explain to Al why they left the place open to vandals and thieves, etc. in his imagination. So you see, Al, I thought the best thing to do would be to... And then this errant thought comes in and he says, kill her. And then he starts fantasizing about how he would murder his wife. So, that's not great. And then Danny starts thrashing around in bed, unable to sleep as well. And Jack is distracted by that. And then the boy starts sleeping better, and he's wondering to himself, like, wow, what scary nightmare monster men are running around in your head, kid? It's him, you guys. His son is sensing his thoughts about murdering his mom. And now, I just read just like this part that you can't see. Jack falls asleep and then wakes up in the bathroom of that room 217. It's getting good, you guys. No. Not the elevator. That's a bad idea. Don't go. Don't do that. You guys, what? Danny was just chased by the topiaries. Jack's trying to show him the difference between fantasies and reality. And then Danny could see that Jack actually knew he was telling the truth because he'd seen them too. And then Jack slapped him. And then he keeps raging for a moment and then softening. There was fury in his eyes, and then it softened, and she knew what he would look like as an old man, defeated, beaten. Pretty soon, I'm reasonably sure he's going to rage and have fury in his eyes, and it's not going to stop.
Boy in the whole world. He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
Alright, so I took a little break to eat something. I am 73% of the way through. We have 3 hours-ish left. 3 hours, 20 minutes left. So, we're in the home stretch, baby. The vibes in this house are crazy, with all of these spooky sounds coming from all around the house. I feel like I'm going mad slowly with Jack. Every time I walk out of this bathroom, the Grim Reaper shows up behind the glass window in this video. It's a lot. It's happened like twice, and only when I'm walking through that doorway. It's been really fun. This whole experience has been really fun. I'm glad I did this. the whole hotel almost just exploded because, of course, he got so caught up in searching all of the old records trying to find some detail about the history of the hotel that he forgot to check the boiler. He had to stop and think about, like, maybe it would be good if I let it blow and I died, and what would they say about me, and what would the life insurance policy pay out, and then decided, wait, what am I doing? And then he, like, narrowly averted disaster. All of these childhood memories of his dad smoking out a wasp nest from a tree in their backyard, explaining to them that fire will kill anything. This book is every bit as great as people say. It's fantastic. I haven't felt the urge to put it in the freezer at any point. Of course, that would probably ruin my Kindle. This is not breaking news, but still, I'm loving it. Wow, Stephen King. I have a lifetime of reading ahead of me now, because this is my third Stephen King and the third one that I've loved. 3 hours and 19 minutes left to go. Soon I will pour a glass of wine, but for now I'm just mainlining Coke Zero and finishing this book. So excited. So Jack is losing his mind. He went to the bar, believing that because he saved the hotel, it just made sense that the hotel would reward him with what he'd been hoping for before, which was if all these other apparently imaginary things can happen and sometimes take physical form and actually hurt people and physically be there, then maybe sometime the bar would come back to life and the bottles behind the bar would be there and he could have a drink. But then it wouldn't really count because it wouldn't be a real drink. And it's very interesting. It's almost like a sci-fi fantasy concept that all time is kind of interweaving at once in the hotel. So he went to the bar and it was like filled with people from all different eras and decades all mingling. There's this crazy masquerade party that he was reading about that's going on, this like lecherous, debaucherous party where everybody takes their masks off at midnight. The bartender keeps talking about the manager and how the manager wants Jack. It's like the hotel wants him and his family to become permanent tenants. But Wendy and Danny are upstairs in bed, and they just hear him talking to himself, sounding drunk, and sounding like he's talking over the din of like a large party. They're dancing around the fact, but she and Danny both know that Jack has lost his mind. Oh, and then, yeah, one of the guys in the bar is dressed in a dog costume and is related to Derwent, the guy who, like, owned the hotel during its heyday. He was like a dangerous, terrifying, snarling dog on all fours in the hallway, stopping Danny from going downstairs earlier. Wendy has taken a knife from the kitchen, wrapped it in a towel, and has hidden it so that she can defend herself and Danny if necessary. So, it can't be long now before he starts chasing them around with a weapon. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And I'm 80% of the way through. So I need to eat something, maybe take a shower, so that I can like refresh and power through the end. Got like 2 hours left. It's gonna happen. You guys. Wow. So, yikes. You guys, this is a lot. The way that she talks about Jack, it's not him, it's the hotel, it's not him, it's the hotel, it's not him, it's the hotel. The things that he's saying and doing and the way he's acting and behaving, it's not him, it's the hotel, is so alcoholism, but make it horror. Because that is what you say to yourself when someone is under the influence of something. a substance. They're high, they're drunk, whatever. They're doing things that they would normally not do. They're being reckless, they're being dangerous, they're being violent, they're being cruel. You say, it's not really them, it's the drinking, they're high or whatever. He's like, oh no, it's fine. If you let me out, then I'll forgive you. But if not, I'll bash your brains in, which is not something he would normally say. And the way they have to say, it's not him, it's the hotel, just lock him in the pantry, is so sad. And so it does beg the question, is it him or is it the hotel? Or is it the alcohol? I guess it's all three. I feel like I'm losing my mind. In a good way. They locked him in the pantry. She broke a bottle over his head. And it's like, I guess the ghostly alcohol has all the same physical properties for him as it would if it were real, because he drank it while it was there. He smells like gin. He's acting drunk. He's sleepy. He can't keep his eyes open. So he is, I guess he really is drunk. They've locked him in the pantry. And everything is fine. You guys, I am freaked out. 2 hours remain. Okay, so it's 1 in the morning. I'm definitely in for the long haul here. I took a bath, just trying to move around and treat myself to chocolates and whatever else I might need to keep going, as I am now 90% of the way through. So Halloran has been making his way to the Overlook for several chapters now, after Danny reached out to him for help with his shining very, very loudly, and he's been on his way to come help him. I think saying that it has been an arduous journey for our friend Halloran is an understatement. I am now on chapter 53, Halloran Laid Low. Halloran was attacked by the hedge lion, miles away from the house, on a snowmobile on a road on the way to the house. And apparently he's not dead. I haven't read this chapter, but I know that it's called Halloran Laid Low, so that's the way Jack attacked his wife with the mallet. The crushing blows and the broken ribs and the screaming. It's a lot, you guys. It's just nonstop violence and terror and running and screaming and hiding and action right now, I'm sure, for basically the rest of this book. So I don't know that there's going to be too much for me to say. I just want to read this and then probably just talk to you when it's done. 1 hour remains. Well, alright then. Wow. That was a journey. That's up there with Dracula for me. I usually feel weird about my Kindle, because it's an Amazon product and it's linked to Goodreads because they own it and whatever, that it immediately asks you to rate the book, the moment that you turn the page at the end. And I usually like close that because I'm like, I don't know yet. I have to think about it. I didn't have to think about it. That was fantastic. The rising of the tension and the horror, so gradual, so fantastic. Yeah, so it took 658 pages to get from Jack accepting the position at the Overlook as caretaker to denouement. And that's amazing. That's incredible. That slow build, that slow burn, fantastic. Jack and his alcoholism and his temper, tamping down his anger and his frustration at things when he can, and the metaphor of the pressure building in the boiler in the basement. And I love that it ended with the hotel exploding. Like, of course it did. So I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. This was an intense experience. As a reader, I love that I binged this in 2 days. So I have to collect my thoughts, and maybe I will say some more. But for now, book complete, 5 stars. I have read The Shining. I'm so happy. I'm so excited now to watch the movie. Damn.